want to talk about the latest things that have been happening with Prince Andrew. So they're very reminiscent of what I experienced in the attitudes and the derogatory, higher than thou, superior behaviour from the elite abusers that I came across. Very many also, like Ghislaine, or whatever her name is, they're a very similar type of woman, sort of an anonymous North London type background. In fact, I was treated in a North London hospital by a doctor friend of theirs with all their connections, and the treatment was very illicit. It disabled me for a number of years in my teens. I have x-ray evidence of this. But let's not dwell on that horror as it is. Some of you may know that, and I'll get it out of the way to start with. But this actually has prevented me from having any recourse to justice, because they used my medical record as a means of undermining me, basically, as they do with any of these situations. Prince Andrew talking in such a derogatory way, these abusers sort of naughty behaviour. What was it he said? Not becoming behaviour, something like that, to do with child abuse. This is how they see it. In their higher echelons, they mix with people like Ghislaine, like the Maxwells, who lynch onto them. And you know, I don't completely blame the royal family. They're prime targets, as I was, as innocent sort of British girls are often. You know, like Virginia, sold and marketed by these people, and then they bring in the influential and the powerful to seal the deal, if you like. So both of us are victims. Both of us now, the British elite, the British elite, and you know the people they're supposed to represent have a massive divide. Because they don't relate to each other in a healthy manner, because people like the Epsteins, they act as a middleman. They trade us to them in our youth very often. And you know, as Babylon the Great, written about in Revelations, I really want to bring your attention to, explains the prostitution of her children. The queen, sitting as Queen Babylon, will never know mourning, apparently. And these prophetic times are beginning to show more and more the signs of this being reenacted, either, you know, by the powers that be, bringing Israel into prominence with the temple, bringing Europe into doom, so that Netanyahu will again recall his people, as he did after the Charlie Hebdo event in France, to come back because it's unsafe in Europe. No, it's very unsafe in Europe. We've been prostituted. Prostitution is mentioned in the final collapse of the final civilization. Was there ever such a great city? Pay her back, it says to the empire that she controlled, for her greed and you know, misuse of power, lascivious corruption that she corrupted all nations with. Now this is us. This has come out of her, it says, like Brexit, come out of her. And this is talking about a multicultural Babylon. Because our elites have become unrepresentative of us because of these middlemen like Epstein using and trading us. There is no relation between the citizens and the hierarchy anymore, and we've become like the beast that's being ridden by Babylon. And the beast hates Babylon because there's nothing divine, no historic, no connection, no connection with the crux of our culture and who we are. They don't marry us. They don't really, you know, they may sort of show up on Remembrance Day and make us all, you know, feel loved, but really our citizenship has gone down the drain. We are now a globalised society, and all our elites, including our royals, have now become like global elites. So I want you to just be aware of the prophecy, Babylon riding the beast. I became aware of this when I was 19, which was a while ago. So I've had a rather long time to study the phenomena of the elites and the way that they are have been corrupted. I would see it in those terms, Babylon riding the scarlet global communist beast, because now, you know, as I said, we can't look up to a hierarchy that resembles us. Every single branch of it has been infiltrated by the type of people who do this, and they use image, and again it says in the book of Revelations, they will all worship the image of this beast system, for buying and selling. Now these kind of things are to do with the type of people who have infiltrated the Ghislaines and Epsteins and whatnot, and you know, abused our elites and abused us in the process, selling us back to them, causing as much division and sickness as possible, as explained by, you know, the people who understand Frankfurt School. Marcuse, however you say it, talked about always praising the bad and trying to knock down the good. And this is happening. This is absolute diabolism. It is absolute diabolical times we're living in, where everything has been inverted and turned around. Everything that contains a purity and an essence that is integral, that the shell outside represents the inside, is going to be attacked. You know, what they want to do is take your outer appearance and make it worthless through your interactions with something alternative that you shouldn't perhaps or wouldn't naturally be inclined to be attracted to, not your natural counterpart. If you can put a wedge there, then you will be fighting against who you are, and feel that your external doesn't fit in some way. You have to cover something up, or you have to discard something in order to be who you are. Now, an integral person will be pretty much at one with their inner and outer selves. They will not need a shell that's hidden, that's distorted, a mask. This is the worship of the image, as I said, and this is what they're trying to do with the trans agenda. They're trying to make out that, you know, the shell is meaningless, because after all, it used to be a reproductive thing. People used to be attracted to each other, and how in a much more wholesome way, even sort of more glamorous, slightly older women in the 40s and 50s, because they had an understanding of motherhood and family and intergenerational respect. But they find it much easier now to market youth culture, because it's a generic thing that is more easily aspired to, and there's no need to worry about, you know, ideals in the same way that we had in previous generations. I'll leave it there for a minute or two.